Hey everyone, this is Mike, and yesterday it was finally time for the season finale of Season of the Worthy from Destiny 2. At the start of the season, the Cabal launched the Almighty on a crash course towards Earth, and then we, as the Guardians, had to start up Rasputin, open up the Seraph bunkers, get him ready to take out the Almighty before it would make a crash landing on Earth and destroy the last city. Now, this week was going to be the last week of Season of the Worthy. In a few days' time, we are going to be getting a reveal for the next season as well, which is actually going to be happening very close to the launch of the next season as well, which I'm kind of surprised about. But basically, this was going to be our last week of Season of the Worthy. So when I logged in on Tuesday on Reset, I was kind of surprised to find nothing there at all. I was expecting there to be either a trailer or a cutscene or maybe even an adventure, but that was even like getting my hopes up, so to speak. But when I logged in, went to the tower, looked on the map, and I didn't see anything, I was kind of left confused because I was at least expecting there to be something, right? We wanted to see what this event would lead up to. Now, one thing that was there was that when you went to the tower and you looked at the sun, you could see that the Almighty was getting incredibly close to the tower, and that was like, oh, it's actually really close, it's almost here. But nothing was happening with it just yet, so me and my friends were kind of confused. We expected there to be something, and there was nothing there. Now, we'll fast forward a few days towards this weekend, and we got the announcement that on Saturday on the Reset, there was going to be a live event happening with the Almighty, which would then, of course, be the event that we got yesterday, which you can see the gameplay of in the background, or at least a little bit of the gameplay, some time-lapse, because I did speed up most of this, the things that you're seeing in the background. Now, there's also going to be some jumps in time, because this event took way too long. So, what happened with the event? What went wrong? What did I think they did well? What did I think they could have improved upon? Let's just talk about all of that kind of stuff. So, first of all, when we went into the tower around Reset, nothing happened because they had some technical difficulties, and it took about half an hour, 45 minutes for the event to actually finally start. Now, I can totally get why Season of the Worthy has been riddled with bugs and error codes, so I definitely wasn't expecting this event to immediately work from the start as well, so I can kind of forgive them for that. It's also the first time that they have tried doing a live event, if I'm not mistaken, so I really want to commend them for trying. So it taking a little bit of time for it to get started, I could get behind, and I didn't really mind too much. What came after, though, is what I did mind. So it took already 45 minutes of us waiting for the event to finally start, but it then took another 45 minutes to maybe a little bit longer even for the event to finish. I think the whole event from when it was supposed to start to when it finished took about 1 hour and 45 minutes, and it is a very long time to just be looking at the sun and wait for a 1 to 2 minute like cutscene, so to speak, for it to then finally crash down on Earth. It took way too long. I can't stress this enough. Now, the final moments of this event where the Almighty does finally blow up, we get this big explosion in the sky, and then we see the centerpiece of the Almighty fly right by the tower and crash into the mountains. Big explosion. Everybody even got knocked back physically as well. And then, of course, we have that little crater on the tower as well, where there was some debris that hit it. Incredibly cool, was a very exciting moment. It's just a problem that the build up towards this moment took so incredibly long that a lot of people missed this moment because they just went up, like they got up from their chairs to either go grab something to drink, go to the toilet or something like that, and they just flat out missed it because of that. But it is because it just took so long for us to get there, and it was unnecessarily long as well, and I definitely do not blame anyone to just get up or even exit the game because just nothing was happening. If you haven't seen it live yesterday or you still haven't seen any of it, just go watch a time-lapse of the event, because it took about 45 minutes for the first missiles to show up, for then finally the Almighty to come crashing down, and it just took so incredibly long, as I've said so many times now. Like, when the first missile showed up, it took about 10 minutes or something like that for the second set of missiles to show up, another 10-15 minutes for them to make impact on the Almighty itself. We then got a little bit of a disco light show, which didn't really look all that great, to be honest. Then 10 minutes later, the light show intensified. We got some extra colors, some more explosions, and then a couple of minutes later, again, some more explosions on there as well, until finally the Almighty exploded and then came crashing down. The whole build-up to the event was incredibly shit. The whole final moments of the event was incredibly cool. So the ending to the event was really cool, but it definitely didn't make up for the long wait times and basically all of the hype that we had by then turned into very cynical humor to then just basically us being bored, screaming at our monitor like Rasputin, do something, and it just wasn't all that great of an experience. I think if they would have made the build-up to the final moments be much more concise, much faster, and maybe, let's say, from the first missiles appearing to the Almighty exploding took like 10 minutes or something like that, I think a lot of people would have been really happy with this event, because, as I said before, if you watch a time-lapse, this was an incredibly cool event. Missiles show up, Almighty starts exploding, big explosion in the sky, it comes crashing down on Earth, big explosion again there as well, and then we have that little bit of debris that hit the tower as well, where we can now see a crater and get our emblem towards the end of the season as well. So if you want to go get the emblem, just go to the tower, interact with the little crater, and you get your little thingy right there. So the whole event was pretty cool, it's just that it took way too long. So hopefully when we see something similar in the future, which we might see, who knows, like it's the first time they tried it, so I definitely would not be surprised that they try it again. I just hope that even like disregarding the technical issues, that they just make the timeline for it a whole lot cooler. Like I can get it why they wanted to make it take a little bit longer so that people had time to go to the tower, people had time to get set up with their friends and that kind of stuff to see if they can get in the same instance. To basically witness the event together. It's just very unfortunate for the people that were already there before the event started. They quite literally had to wait 1.5 hours just staring at the sun basically to hope that they don't miss anything, for them to finally see the resolution that only took 1 to 2 minutes, which I think could have just been a much more concise experience. So that's pretty much like my opinions on what happened with this current event that happened yesterday. Yes, the final moments were incredibly cool, but the build-up to it was just so incredibly long that basically all of the hype was dead when it did finally happen. Like when it did finally happen, me and my friends were like, oh my god, finally, yes. But it was more of a relief that, yes, it's finally here, we can now close the game, rather than, oh, this is incredibly cool, it's happening. Yes, it was really cool, but our hype was pretty much dead at this point when it did finally happen. Now, does this mean I'm not going to be playing Destiny 2 anymore? Definitely not. I am definitely going to keep playing it. Next season is right around the corner, which I'm very excited about, and I definitely hope it's going to be better than this current season, as Season of the Worthy was definitely a low point for Destiny 2's lifespan. We kind of had it last year as well with Season of the Drifter. It was a little bit of a low point in Forsaken's lifespan, so hopefully the next season that will be revealed on Tuesday, right before it goes live, will be a whole lot cooler. This season did definitely set up for a pretty cool next season, because of course we do know from being inside of these Seraph bunkers that the Dorito triangles, the darkness ships, are getting closer and closer to our solar system, and they are pretty much going to be arriving with next season, so we can pretty much expect next season to be all about the darkness, maybe get some new enemies. And basically it's just a lot of cool stuff that I am looking forward to. I am very excited for the next season, but yesterday and this whole season that we currently have in Season of the Worthy didn't really feel all that great of a season itself. It was more like we implemented a couple of cool things into the game itself, like Trials of Osiris, Grandmaster Nightfalls, were things that were introduced and that are here to stay, which are really good additions to the game. Also the polarization on the armor and such that we can change. So basically, when it came down to systems, they did a really good job with this season. When it came down to seasonal content like story, weapons, seasonal activities and that kind of stuff, it was very lackluster. Yesterday's event didn't really help it all that much either, but it did set up for the next season to be really good, with, like, for example, the whole foreboding of the Dorito ships coming closer and closer to our solar system, and then they are probably finally going to be arriving in the next season, which hopefully next season is going to be elaborating on all of that and see some more story about the darkness. So we basically only have new things to be looking forward to. Hopefully next season is going to be good. Hopefully all of the resources that they didn't invest in this one, they were able to put into the next to make that one extra good, to then lead up to like this year's expansion as well towards the end of the year. Because after the next season is done, we are going to be getting a new expansion, which they are also going to be revealing on Tuesday evening as well. I believe it's like 9 a.m. PT. I'm not 100% sure when it is. Basically, an hour before the weekly reset of Destiny 2, there's going to be a live stream where they are going to be revealing the next season that is literally going live an hour from that. And then they're also going to be revealing the next expansion as well, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, lots of cool stuff to be looking forward to. I am definitely excited for the next season of Destiny 2. And then I'm really curious to see what the next expansion is going to be bringing as well. But that's going to be it for me. Those are kind of my current thoughts on the whole Destiny situation. Current season, kind of meh. The event yesterday was cool, but took way too long. But I'm still definitely excited to see what the future of Destiny 2 has to offer for us. So that's gonna be it for me. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreons for supporting me. And I'll see you in the next one.